Pensado's Place is brought to you by
This Ali has a lethal musical knockout punch. We got a brand new ITL. You're at the place. It's Pensado's Place.
In case you didn't notice, I did that yay in Spanish. That's why it was a little different than the other yay. It's just, salute to my homies. La Raza. Why are you laughing, gringo?
It's a sense of pride that you have this week, which is good.
Man. I'm really excited about that. We're going to have a great show, have a lot of fun, learn a little bit along the way, and try not to make too much of a fool out of myself.
That's impossible.
But how are you, Herbert?
I'm good, being foolish too.
Our shows get watched 2 years later, a month later, 3 months later. So I'm going to ask a time-dated question, but are you enjoying your holidays?
I am, all of them. And,
4th of July, right?
Yeah, exactly. And hope our audience is enjoying their holiday as well too. Why don't we get to our homework and get to the good stuff? What do you think?
Nah.
Okay, let's change it. What do you want to talk about? Anyways, guys, we're coming to you live from the Art Institute of California, Los Angeles, from the beautiful HD studio, which stands for?
Herb and Dave.
Herb and Dave, there you go. Get to us, please. Facebook, Twitter, our YouTube channel. We'll get back to you. We've had some great conversations. Thank you for that stuff.
Absolutely.
Hello to our sponsors, Vintage King, all of our guys over there. We love them. Our avid folks.
Every week we say we love them, but we truly do. Those are some great cats.
Yeah, we're blessed.
Humanitarians. The brothers are exemplary in terms of the way to run a company. They do it right.
No question about it. No question about it. And we feel exactly the same way about our avid friends. They have been wonderful to us.
Yeah.
We try to reciprocate, and some exciting things happening with them.
Yeah,
so
special shout out to Gary. You know what we talked about last week. That takes a little guts as a top guy, CEO. And he stepped up to the plate big time.
Yeah, and we find that consistently throughout the ranks of Avid, throughout the ranks of Vintage King, and we're just so honored to. They set a tough standard for other sponsors.
Let me ask you something, Herb.
Sure.
In the world we live in now, and you know we didn't discuss this. I'm not trying to be cute or anything, but it is kind of important for people to help us out with the Facebook stuff and all those sorts of things, isn't it? I mean, there's a real need for that.
No question. The social media interaction between us and you guys, between you guys and our sponsors, being active and being involved. I know we do it every week, and it might get a little tiring, but there's a construct there.
It does get a little tiring, but it's necessary.
It is necessary, and there's a construct there that shows how active and important the show is to you, and our sponsors keep doing it. That's the reason we're able to bring the show to you. And I can tell you, if you recently saw the specialty programming that we just did with Dave and JJP, it was a couple weeks back, we've got a lot more of that stuff coming, and that's because our sponsors are involved. We're gonna do some interesting new things with Pensado's Place.
Oh, they don't know.
And they're going to be involved in that
you
stuff.
You are one sick man. You got some stuff planned.
I'm in full P.T. Barnum.
I can't wait for the strip music show.
No question.
At the club.
No question. Yep. And Dave has got really good response on his lessons on the pole. So you'll be able to watch him
on
do
the
that.
pole.
You own the pole. You had one installed.
You want to see
it? No, that's the mini pole. At any rate, let's get to the ITL before the show goes off the fiscal cliff.
I mean, as always, it's a great ITL, and as always, expand on what I'm saying. This is not giving you a fish; it's teaching you how to fish. Like I said about a month ago. On today's ITL, I'm mixing several songs on the new Earth, Wind & Fire record. Neil Pogue has done a lot of excellent work on that. Larry Dunn, Philip Bailey Jr. And I started working on this vocal, and I just really liked what I did. I mean, first of all, Philip Bailey is, one of the handful, of just great singers ever. It's a pleasure to work on his voice. And I kind of heard this vocal being very breathy, kind of like the top end from Mariah Carey, but a modern mid-range, and it was a ballad. I'm going to play you the vocal. I probably can't play it for you in the track because the record's going to come out pretty soon, but I just thought maybe you guys would like to hear a great singer with hopefully some great EQ and stuff on it, okay? Let me play it for you the way I got it. Pretty spectacular. Now, I just wanted it to be, it's a ballad, I just wanted it to be, I don't know how to describe it. You just want it to be, just dynamic and powerful and emotional. So I started EQing. This is the EQ I came up with. Here's the EQ points you can see. There's our modern frequency a little bit. Here's our harshness. Here's the classiness. Okay, let's check it out. A little compression. The compression kicks in more on these louder parts right here. Cleaned it up with a little Massey de-esser. Our buddy kind of keep the mid-range in check. Taking a little mud out with this, around 300. On these softer parts, it's a little more noticeable. On these bigger parts, we needed it. That's why I'm doing it this way. And then a little bit of radical EQ here. Just some repair work. Taking out a little more 300, adding a little bit of lower mid. So now what we've got is
here in my room, having visions of you.
okay. Now I wanted my effects to be a little over the top. Oh, you know what? These are contributing to the sound too. Let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm sending several things to this track. Here again, it's just subtle stuff. So what this is doing is
here in my room.
A little more mid-range. Then this guy, I don't know what the hell it does, but it's doing something between these two frequencies.
Here in my room.
Kind of rounds out the bottom. And then let's check these effects. Okay. Now the effects are one of the things I want the effects to do is kind of smooth out some of the humanness of the vocal a little bit. I want them to sound almost angelic, I guess, but in a male way.
Here in my room, having visions of you over.
Okay, now we've gone over this guy here, this little split harm guy. Essentially, it's just a doubler, pan left and right. I got a 14 and a 19 millisecond delay, well within the Haas effect. Slight detuning and sharp on opposite sides. A little bit of EQ, and then widening it a little bit, and a little bit of chorus. And then a parallel compressor chain, nothing fancy, just your standard thing. And then let's see what I'm using for a delay, because the delay is pretty important on this song. Okay, the delay is Echo Farm, and we're using the one that has a little distortion in it. I can't remember the name of it, but you can see my bit rate is like at about 11 o'clock. Some repeats. I'm sending that to true verb, sending that to a little chorus, and then selectively taking out the low end. Okay, I'm going to play just the tiniest piece of it in the song. I don't want to give the song away. I want you guys to go buy this record. It's going to be a great record. So that kind of gives you an idea. If you get a ballad and you want it just jump out on the radio and be different, be unique, and just, to me, this production and the performances just drip with energy. Larry Dunn, producer and keyboard player, best there is. In fact, if you remember the Raphael Sadiq episode, Raphael used Larry on a couple of tracks on his new album. And then Neil Pogue is one of the masters. If you want to learn a little bit more about Neil, go back and check a couple of older episodes. And you can find if you want to check out Neil, he was on the show a while back. I can't remember, but it was last year sometime. I think might have been this year. Anyway, Neil Pogue, Pogue. All right, guys, just kind of proud of that. Just sharing it with you. I hope you learned a little bit something. Every once in a while, I got to do something for me, but I was just kind of proud of that, and hope you guys got a little something from it. Guys, welcome to today's show. I want you to do me a favor. Go get the new Kendrick Lamar album, M.A.A.D, and I want you to listen to the entire album, and then just pick any random song out of this year and compare it, and immediately you're going to notice something special is going on with that record. And today we're going to talk with a cat that's responsible for that. What's up, Ali? How you doing?
Man. Chilling, enjoying this. Herb, it's a pleasure.
Glad to have you, brother.
Ali, I'm telling you, it sure seems like when I listen to that record, a torch has been passed from the M.A.A.D Dre guys to Kendrick Lamar. That record, it's been said that music is the soundtrack of one's life, and I don't know that I've heard a record where the music is so thoroughly the soundtrack of one person's life like that record is with Kendrick. And you're responsible for crafting that. I know you're too shy and polite to take credit, but I'm going to force you to take credit. What a great record.
Appreciate it, man.
Obviously, as engineers, we have to give all the credit to Kendrick, which we very, very, very gladly and willingly do.
Who's also brilliant.
Definitely genius.
Absolute genius.
Genius.
No, what he does with words, there's Herb has got a great vocabulary, and if you read his emails, Herb has mastered words like no one I've ever heard. And what else? A rapper doesn't have much else to do but to master usage of the language, you know, and take that to a high art form in the grand tradition of all the greats that come before him. And he does it as good as anybody I've ever heard, man.
Right. It's always been that way.
Has it?
It's always been there.
Yeah. Give us the history of the relationship, you guys.
Man, I came in, met everybody when I was like 16, 17. It just started from there, you know what I'm saying? Bro?
Just chemically
fit.
Yeah.
Everybody came in the studio, worked, got to this point where we're at now.
Right.
But the vibe's always been the same, you know what I'm saying? Kendrick always been that smart dude in the corner writing.
Oh, that's good to hear.
He's always been crafting, you know what I'm saying? Crafting his craft this past 6, 7 years.
Right. In talking to you before the show, what I like is that even though the comparisons are being made, it feels to me, and what you expressed is, you're not letting the weight of history affect what you guys are doing. You guys are leaning forward, just following your own instinct. Is that correct?
It definitely is. I mean, I feel once you start looking back at what other people did and what they're doing in their careers, it kind of like puts a cap to what you can do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And
it affects your creativity.
Exactly. We don't want to do that because then you put in a lane where you have to have the sound this way when. You know what I'm saying? There's no limits to the sound nowadays. You can do whatever you want to records. Right.
So
we never want to get put in that box and be stuck in the lane when we could just, there's so much more stuff we could do to these records.
Yeah.
You know, that shows on this album because every song is different, but instantly you know every song belongs to this album and not an earlier album. It's pretty well done. Let's get up to the engineering part of all this because that's what I'm fascinated by. You have a gift for ratio and proportion. It's like anything that's important, I never have to hunt for it.
Right.
We're going to talk about some individual elements, but on all the songs, there's not a syllable of Kendrick's I can't hear and understand very clearly. And there's not, if there's a piano part, I hear it. Anything important, I hear. And are you doing that with just simple fader manipulations, or is it a concept of just that's what you want to hear, and so you put things loud? Are you consciously EQing things to do that?
The way I see it when I'm hearing a record, I basically try to hear how the producer hear it. Because you know when producers make the records, they want to hear all their sounds a different way. It's a pocket in each sound.
Right.
So basically, I just try to find that pocket and enhance it. and therefore it makes certain sounds brighter than the others. And
What I get is that you let your instincts be your guide, right? Like you're not trying to over intellectualize it as much as feel it. And is that correct?
That's definitely correct. That's how our mixes are. I mean, the way our team is they just record the records and we get in the studio and they just let me put my aspects into the record, add my 2 cents to it. And that's what I like about it so much.
So you have freedom.
A freedom. I'm
But you're
completely
pretty
free
involved
with
in the
mixing.
tracking,
Yeah, I record everything that we do from TD, Kendrick, Schoolboy Q, Absol, J-Rock.
Oh, cool.
Now when you say the pocket tells you how to EQ, I always thought a pocket would be telling me how to work with rhythmic and groove elements. But how does a pocket help me out? How's that? What are you hearing? What are you listening?
Because when I'm mixing vocals, I see a vocal as an instrument.
Right.
So I try to work that vocal in to the type of beat that I'm mixing, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's perfect.
It's like I'll take a vocal and I do like a lot of automation and delays and reverb throws and all type of stuff like that, but I want that vocal to stand out and really be in the center and be the center of the sound of the song.
I'm noticing that and one of the things when I introduced you at the beginning of the show, this record it sounds at the same time old and new.
Right.
It's the most amazing thing,
Right.
and it doesn't sound. You're not using compression in the new way, but you're not using it in the old way. You're using it in beyond what we're doing now way.
I take best of both worlds. Like I mix, I do all my mixes, pre-mixes in the box, but I would completely like just go all out on the in the box mix, and I take that and I throw it on like a G series and polish it up. Okay. So I take best of both worlds and try to make it new.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, one last philosophical question, but do you think you could mix these records the way they're mixed now if you weren't so close and had a long relationship with Kendrick Lamar like you do? I mean, I hear that connection between him and the mix. It has to be you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could. We've been working for years, and you know, it kind of helped me know how he wants his record sounding. You know what I'm saying? After we track, he'll step out, go do an interview, whatever, and I'm already getting the mix. And he just knows I know how he likes his vocals and how I like his sound, and it just works. You know what I'm saying?
I can't remember if you had finished or you started working, but you're mixing a Dr. Dre production on E40. What was different about that process than Kendrick? Because you don't have or do you?
Right. It was a game. It's a game record.
A game record.
A game record.
Sorry.
On Game's new album I mixed. It wasn't too hard. I've always been a fan of Game. You know what I'm saying? Game is real close to our camp, so I always, you know what I'm saying, I always knew how his record sounded.
Oh, okay.
And this past working on Kendrick's album with Dre, I kind of got how he likes his stuff to sound too. So it really just worked it out.
I noticed on a lot of the songs, when I said the old and new, you in the 90s, we used to put the snares a little louder than they do now, and I noticed that you like that on this record. Is that conscious?
Yes, you have to. I mean, I got that from Dre, of course. When I mix, I start with the drums first, of course. And I feel when you get the kicks and the snares and stuff hidden, you can mold the whole song around that. I just love it. When you hear that snare, like in swimming pools, how that snare just snaps and you feel it in your chest, especially when in the studio, it doesn't get no better than that.
On M.A.A.D City, you're using an old jazz sample by an artist named Grant Green. He was like an old jazz guitar player from back in the day. And if I take my mind and intentionally take the vocals off the record, these are jazz records. They're very smooth. But like, man, smooth. I went back home on that word, didn't I? I turned smooth into an 8-syllable word.
That's what I was hearing out the road.
But I don't mean that as an insult because they're aggressive. There's nothing on these records that a jazz player would feel proud to have on his record. But yet the overall impression is that it's I don't know how to describe it. Help me. It's just kind of smooth, but then the drums it makes the drums harder because the tracks are so correct.
Right. It's more with Kendrick, the way he picks his music. He's real music inclined as well. Like if you listen to a lot of his previous stuff, a lot of his jazz influenced.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the Grant Green sample and the Quincy thing.
Yeah. So I mean, he works off feelings of sounds. Like he did an interview one time and he was talking about how he sees sound as color.
Right.
And majority of stuff he sees it as like real like mellow, like, you know what I'm saying, like purples and stuff, real, you know what I'm saying, real smooth stuff. And that's his personality also. If you meet him, he's a real chill vibe, down to earth type person. He just incorporates that into all his music.
When I listen to his lyrics, some of his predecessors, they describe their life in Compton quite spectacularly, almost Ernest Hemingway-like, but they didn't end with a hopeful kind of attitude. And the tracks and the music, his lyrics kind of have a hopeful quality to them. In other words, it's pretty tough down there, I guess. I don't know. Never,
definitely.
but yet the music reflects that so thoroughly. So
I mean, growing up in certain parts, like of course Compton is the inner city. It's not the best city in the world. You know what I'm saying? And him from being from there, it really molded him as a person. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick is a great person. He's came a long way, and it's just hard, you know.
yeah.
And I think it lends to, because you guys don't just have a #1 record. You guys are at the middle of a movement,
Right.
to me. And I think some of that reality of what growing up was like, and the way it's translated into the music, and the way it's touched people, that kind of honesty and truth.
People think being from Compton, I'm sorry to cut you off, it's like, okay, I have to be this tough dude, and I have to do this and do that. It's not. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that's from the city that have friends that went that route, and they just, you know what I'm saying?
And
they didn't.
Yeah.
But they are still in the middle of it, and just know that they have better ways to cope with all the negative around.
You know how I put it all the time, not to get off. When people talk about the hood, I always tell people that's the second part of the word neighbor, neighborhood.
Exactly.
And there's all kinds of folks in the neighborhood. Some are cool, some struggle, but you can't paint them all with a broad brush, right?
You can't at all. And his album proves that. You know what I'm saying? He's a good kid in the M.A.A.D City.
Yeah, absolutely.
On Bitch Don't Kill This Vibe, what is it that's going on with that vocal? You do it on several tracks. He's actually, are you using a harmonizer? How are you getting the little high vocal? And there's several songs. Don't be smiling now. You about ready to hold something back? Come on, man.
I'm trying to see what I can let out.
Pensado's place. We spilled the beans on this show.
On that specific intro.
But it's so cool. It's like
It was this chick Anna Wise. We had her come in. She did a layer under him. And then
is she singing that high kind of ethereal part too?
And then
I'm gonna ask you about that in a minute.
I have this pitch thing that I do with her vocals, and I do a lot of like panning automations and make them kind of intertwine and sound real eerie, reverbed up and delayed.
So it was a harmonizer on her vocal.
Yeah, on hers, on his. Yeah.
And what's the echo on that? The echo is so sweet. You remember?
Yeah, the actual plugin.
Yeah.
It was the sound towards the Echo Boy.
Oh wow.
Echo Boy, and I just modified it. I added I think I added an imager to it to spread it out some.
There's some kind of tight delay going on too, like,
there's
maybe
two.
30, 40 milliseconds.
Yeah. That's on hers. There's two different delays on both vocals.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That one you heard is on hers, and the other one, the Echo Boy, is on his.
And I got a note here about that eerie sound on Anna's vocal. What reverb was that? Do you remember?
That was a standard D-verb. No, matter of fact, it wasn't. It was the Renaissance, the R-verb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I tweaked that. I think I added a lot of high end to it, and I do a lot of imaging on my like reverbs and delays.
That's an understatement. Everything has a slot. I made a note to say something about if you want to copy this record, don't. You can't. Yeah. And so I was sitting there listening to it, and I'm like, okay, I like that. What did he do? How can I steal that?
Yeah.
You know, because that's the way my mind works. And I realized you can't. I mean, it's just, it works so thoroughly for that song, but who knows if it'll work on anything else. It's so perfect.
That's how it works. I feel every mix is different, you know what I'm saying?
And then on Kendrick's vocals, I hear effects, but only from when I listen as an engineer. When I listen as a fan, they just sound, like I said earlier, right there. Are you using some kind of little chorusy tight delay thing, or just dry?
Nah, it's mostly dry. I put like an AMS delay on there, like on the board. I put
the
like,
DMX. Yeah. That's what I'm hearing. That little slight delay. Then
do that, and pretty dry. Like I said, I use a lot of different reverbs, and I don't just use the standard settings of verbs and delays. I like to like go in there and tweak them and get them sounding high, you know.
And a lot of cats want to know, in terms of tracking, tracking his vocal, what's your signal path?
Of course, I run through the C800 mic, through 737, and that's just about it.
You're not compressing a lot, though, are you? Man, congratulations to you. It's refreshing. I'm hearing, instead of compressing, you're doing a lot of automation moves, which just to my ear just sounds. And if you try to copy something on this record, copy the fact that he's backing off on the compression, using more automation moves, and that's how you keep it in your face.
Exactly.
When I'm pretending like I'm you and I'm sitting and listening, and when I start to lose it, I feel a fader go up. Oh, he's keeping it in my face. He's keeping it in my face. And on that same song, I think we said earlier her name was Mary Keating. The live violin. If there's a special Grammy for how to really screw up a live violin, you're gonna win it. 'Cause dude, you F that violin up.
I did, man.
But you did that on 3 or 4 different songs.
Yeah.
If I hadn't have read the credit, which I did, I wouldn't have thought that was a violin. But I'm saying, I'm teasing you. That's really, really great. You also did that on M.A.A.D City, Sing About Me, that same violin, but different effects.
Yeah.
You messed that thing up, man.
Thank you, man.
Have you tried that same sound on a guitar or other things?
Never.
Just that
Just
violin?
that
What'd
violin.
you do?
I ran it through a GML, and
Did you roll a lot of top end?
a lot of it, yeah. I put a lot of reverb in it, and I ran it through, after the GML, I put it through what was it, the DBX 160?
Low compressor.
Yeah, just a little bit. And the rest was board EQ.
Okay, watch this, Herb. This is where I go into my really good interviewer skills. What brand violin was she playing?
No idea.
Yes. To Catch a Predator, I'm next. Call me. I can take that show over for you. I just on several songs on the record, I haven't heard anybody do this in a while. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I know you will. But I haven't heard anybody roll off top end on kick drums since the Miami crowd came along. I made myself laugh. It's a kick drum joke, Herb. And but you rolling top end off the kick drums. Nobody's doing that anymore.
Nah, that's them old school tricks you learn from Dre.
But it works on it works on those. God, there's one song. I hate to look at my notes in front of everybody, but one of the songs I thought the kick drum was. You just did it perfect. Anyway, it'll come to me. So you understand, and you're thoroughly using high pass filters as a creative tool then.
Absolutely. That, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
there's nothing to really say after that. I mean, it's just, you're actually using it as artfully as I've heard it used.
What were you going to say?
A lot of people don't use it because they have a lot of other plugins or effects where they want to use to it. But like when I started mixing, I didn't have too much of nothing. So I just took what I had and made it work. You know what I'm saying? And I always rolled off a lot of high end and used my high pass filters when necessary.
That probably was the best, in a weird way, turned into a great learning thing. Because if you didn't have a lot,
trial and error.
Yeah,
Best teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there an active learning curve in working with Dre? Were you just picking stuff up? Was he actively teaching? Was it like sitting at the feet of the master?
Man,
the way
working with Dre, it was like first day in the studio was like going to first day of high school. You know, put best shirt on and you know what I'm saying, just get ready.
Are you saying you didn't dress for Pensado's place? Check his wardrobe, Herb.
He's already there. He came in with the #1 record. That was different back then.
Man, first time I met him, I was the same way.
Yeah,
golly.
He's a genius, a perfectionist. But after the first couple of days, it was natural. It was more like how we're just sitting here talking about music, and it was just a good experience, man. Dre is a great person. He's a genius. The stuff he knows about mixing is stuff that you can't learn. It's just tricks over the years that he picked up, and it's a blessing.
Well, without exaggerating, if it hadn't been for Dre, this record couldn't exist. I mean, that's
definitely.
how powerful he is. And 90% of the records I do wouldn't exist.
Right.
Is on Good Kid, is that Chad singing on the Pharrell production?
Yeah.
How'd you pull that off? It is Chad?
Yeah.
I thought it was him.
Yeah, it was actually some backgrounds that Pharrell had kept in the session and gave to him.
Oh, okay.
So it was some stuff I guess he already added when he was making the beat. He already added that
Slightly,
in there.
because Pharrell does that a lot. He's one of my favorite cats and artists, too.
That song is so musically creative, man. If you just see the session, it's crazy.
What struck me about that song was the bass. That's not a live bass.
That's live bass.
It is a live
It's
bass.
a live bass.
Who played that? The bass part is so perfect.
Matter of fact, it's not a live bass. I remember Pharrell was saying he played it through a what keyboard was that?
It sounds like a live bass.
Yeah.
Though. And on Money Tree, speaking of basses, I've not heard anybody. You remember her back in the old school funk days? If the kick drum hit the bass, there's a bass note under it. And on Money Tree, you're doing that again, and it's almost the same sound as on Good Kid. But when you had the bass and the kick drum hitting at the same time, there's only a couple, like maybe 3 or 4 spots in the song where the kick hits by itself.
Right.
A lot of our audience, they get confused when they have just a kick and a bass in the same song playing different beats.
Right.
This is together, and you melted it together like you were alive and well in the 70s. I mean, it reminded me of an old Chic song or something. It was perfect. Did you work a lot on that, or just fell into place when you tracked it?
It fell into place when I tracked it. It wasn't too much work, even mixing it. I use a lot of board EQ and just found the right mesh for both. I tried using the what's that called? A side chain when the kick hits, when the side, but it didn't come out right. So yeah.
So well, because they're hitting at the same time.
Yeah.
It all just made it lower. And then speaking of favorite producers on Compton, Just Blaze. It's good to hear something from him again. But on the credits it says Dre mixed it. I can't remember another time where Dre mixed something that wasn't one of his productions. How'd you pull that off?
That was already in the works before I came in.
Is it because you're on Aftermath, you think?
Yeah, that was already in the works. I just tracked the vocals on that record.
And on Recipe, got a shout out to Drew Adams, the assistant engineer on Recipe. You did that in my room at Larrabee, and it was Drew was splitting his time between me and you during that time period. So I was like, Drew's very loyal to me. He's like, you want me to stay with you? I'm like, hell no, Dre's over there. Get your ass over there with a camera, a tape recorder, and a spy pen and everything else. And Drew would come back every day just with great stories and talking about how cool you were. He said, tell you hello.
Man, tell Drew I said what's going on. The sessions, man, I haven't mixed too many albums, but you could tell the energy in the rooms were different. You know what I'm saying? It was more comfortable, more home feely. Everybody around was cool. Everybody was there for the same thing to make a great album.
And that makes a huge difference,
It does.
doesn't it, the environment?
Because I mean, I go into sessions and everything is just, you know what I'm saying, be here at this time, do this, make sure you have this, this mix has to be done by this time. Even all that pressure and all that stuff gets on you. It's not.
Tell us about the because you also do, you're behind the scenes mixing, and then you DJ with Kendrick when he goes out, right?
It's a dope feeling because I can see, like, I'm always in the studio for all these records, and seeing these records made from scratch, literally, to being in front of thousands, performing, seeing emotions in everybody's faces, it's no better feeling than that.
What changes in studio to live?
A lot. You go in the studio, I like to mix alone. I don't like too many people in my sessions. It's just quiet, it's just me and the music, you know what I'm saying, my vibes and how I like it. And I go in front of a crowd and it's 4,000 or 5,000 people screaming at you and, you know what I'm saying, turned up and having fun in the crowd. It's dope, I love it.
But it also probably, you tell me, it probably informs you about the mix, what works, what doesn't, those places and points.
It got my live mixing better too.
I
do all the sound checks for the show.
Oh, do you really?
You got to carry a roll of Tums when you mix live, don't you?
Yeah, man.
Are you running the drums louder? Are you using a mixtape or like a TV track or
a TV track?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
when I do mixes, I print out TV tracks.
Oh, okay. When you print out a TV track, do you print the exact record or do you leave the drums a little louder?
I leave the drums louder. I leave some ad-libs in there and turn the ad-libs up a little.
Okay, so the question is, if the drums work better live louder, why not do that on the record too? Because it throws the...
Some venues, I just got this
I don't know the answer to that question. I do that too.
Yeah, some venues that we do, the sound system isn't always the best. And I know Kendrick likes all his stuff. Kendrick likes all his stuff to hit. Everything has to hit. Everything has to sound. You know what I'm saying? So it was just something that I picked up over the venues that we did, and the sound systems not being the best. And
right.
and on Now or Never with Mary. Mary's my girl. I love Mary. I'm gonna give you a compliment again. You can tell I'm in love with this album and your work on it. I'm telling
Appreciate
you,
it. It means a lot.
I really, really am.
means a
It's
lot.
just so special. I can't emphasize that enough. This record's gonna be. It's gonna never stop
Already
growing.
started.
This record's gonna be growing over the
#1
next
record.
2 years. Don't release nothing new. This record's good for 2 years.
Really,
But
it's crazy.
but I always get confused, so don't laugh at me, Herb. But on 411, I always say 911. But on 411, Mary's record, you kind of captured a little bit of that sound and tone in her voice.
Right.
I don't know if you did it intentionally or with Mary, that's the way she should sound. When I mix Mary,
I try to get the vocal as natural as possible. Dre helped a lot with that one. He did the beat on that, and me and him went back and forth on the vocals. We just try to get the vocal sound as natural as possible. We referenced a few of her previous mixes on that, and just try to get it right, you know?
did you listen to Be Without You?
No.
That's good, because you couldn't touch that one.
I was going to ask
It was
that,
pretty
'cause I didn't-
spectacular.
I noticed they didn't reference your mix.
When you're ready, Grasshopper, let me know. I'll show you that.
I have the whole catalog from you to sing it, man. Get my
Man,
studio
I
on.
tell you what, if I'd have done that mix, I couldn't have done it as good as you, because it just reminded me of everything I love about Mary without having to hunt for it. It was just right there and not clouded with
So natural, right?
effects. Yeah, natural is the word.
Yeah, it felt real good.
In fact, I guess you could use that to describe this entire record. Nothing sounds forced.
Right.
Nothing sounds phony or fake in terms of, it's like the old days. I mean, you'd go on vacation, you'd take a bunch of snapshots, you'd try and get your brother taking a leak on a tree, your parents asleep, your sister with drool coming down her mouth, and then we call that an album. You put all those photos in one album. And this is an album in the truest sense of the word, because you feel like from the very first song, the way it starts out with the preaching and the sermon, it just takes you through a period of a cat's life in the same way a photo album would take you through a period of a vacation.
Right.
And everything seems to amplify that thought. It's all connected. It should be listened to top to bottom.
Has to.
Go ahead, sorry.
That's the whole, when we put the album together, that's why we called it Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, M.A.A.D City, a short film by Kendrick Lamar. That's the way,
cool.
that's the whole reason for that.
And I got to tell you, for the last 20 years, when I hear a skit coming up, I fast forward that crap. I hate skits. And I played your skits over and over. I mean, did you guys take acting lessons or something? They're so authentic.
Those were his real friends and family on those skits. It wasn't, it was just, they called him in, did them.
But I'm telling you, if I'd have been the record company guy, I'd say, man, get them skits out of there. That's corny. And then when I heard them, I was like, it wouldn't work without them.
Right.
It
tells a story.
You really feel like you could go.
Particularly if it's family and friends. It's like, it doesn't get more honest than that, right?
At all.
Yeah.
I don't know Kendrick, but I feel after I heard that album so many times, I feel like if I saw him, we could just go hang out and be buddies. Of course, he'd never hang out with me, but
Here's a question for you.
about time.
Your arm loose?
Oh,
Time for batter's box.
yeah, I got a whole batter's box on violin.
Tee it up. He's got his bat up.
Violin.
He's got his bat up.
What brand rosin did she use on the bow?
You got
All right,
me
man,
lost.
you ready?
I think I'm ready. Let's do it.
Here we go.
Just whatever comes to mind. Plug in, lead vocal.
DBX 160.
Really cool. Reverb.
Either the AMS or R-Verb plugin.
Oh,
Renaissance.
okay. Kick drum.
Pole Tech with some board EQ.
Oh, cool. Snare. Give me an EQ because I like your top
EQ?
end. I'll steal that.
Yeah, EQ I use the parallel Q10.
Oh, okay. Tambourine.
Tambourine.
There's not a tambourine on this record.
Yeah, tambourine. Shit.
Okay, I'll give you a hi-hat.
Hi-hat, board EQ. Plugin I will use. Smack.
Oh, I'll try that. I got it. I never use it. Bass synth.
Bass synth. All the stuff, Money Trees, I did that in the board EQ, G Series.
Your favorite plug-in under $200?
Shit, I don't know the prices of them.
Yeah, I
So you
understand.
don't have to concern yourself with that
Just
anymore.
give me any plugin you like that you feel like that our audience should know you use a lot.
U.A.D SSL channel strip.
Oh, okay. You use a lot of UAD stuff?
Not a lot. I just like the SSL channel strip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Herb, that's all I got, dude.
That's the most O's I've seen you do. You went, oh. Oh. So, yeah, he's got a special place in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you kicked my ass.
Well, you know, he knew that coming
Yeah, I
in.
did.
Yeah, he was ready for this.
I can't ready.
Although
He had researched.
I did give him a break on the tambourine. So does that still mean he won?
No, we have to forfeit that question. But moving on, the GI, let's introduce GI Griffin over there in the corner office.
Yo, yo, yo.
GI, how you doing?
Oh, gee,
All
I
right,
came
over
back
here.
with a yo-yo for a Derek Ali interview.
Yeah, exactly. That's GI being hard.
He didn't come back with that
Are you
Ken
being hard,
Calais.
GI?
A little bit. Got a little bit in there.
What'd you come back with on the Ken Calais show?
Probably
How are
hello.
you? How the heck are you? That was how you
Howdy, guys.
Yo.
Exactly.
Good one, G.I.
GI, tee up a few questions.
All right, first one is from Aaron Alper. Derek, it seems you go more for a live band feel than a synthesized band sound. The kick has good punch to it, and it's almost like you're mixing a rock drummer. What techniques do you like to use to treat the low end overall?
That goes back to the taking a lot of high end out. Taking a lot of high end out. I like a lot of our records. I really like to make them sound as original. A lot of stuff we do it's not too much sample, but it's sample influenced. So I try to get it sounding close to where it came from, or the idea from where the producer had came
Ali,
from.
would it be safe to say that for Aaron to learn from the question he was answering, philosophically, you're not trying to make them sound loud, you're trying to make them sound perfect for the song.
Exactly.
Because everything in your mix it's like a hairdo. It's not hairspray and it's not perfect, but from a distance it's the perfect hairdo.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the cut.
GI, tip another one.
Next one is from Noor Kazal. Lately, we've seen artists coming up with their own engineers, Kendrick and you, Drake and 40. What do you feel are the benefits and drawbacks of this versus the traditional way of getting an outside engineer to handle it?
It's the relationship.
Yeah, that's what we said at the beginning of the show. No one could have done this record like you.
It's the relationship. I feel when people start going outside of who they're originally working with, a lot of, like I was telling you, a lot of creativity is lost and just trying to get the job done. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't put certain effort into records. They just want to just get the job done.
You know.
It goes deeper.
It goes
than
way
a job.
deeper. Yeah, exactly.
Plus trust, right?
Exactly. It's these records that come out. They're not just Like I feel I take real good pride in these songs. Like these are my records too.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
It's personal.
Exactly. It's real personal. So
Herb just hit on it. I was about to amplify what you just said, Ali. I don't think a lot of engineers that are just starting out understand the amount of trust it takes for an artist to work with us, because their livelihood, their children's future, their economic future, they turn that over to us. And that trust, if you don't have it, you can't work at the level that we work at, because they're going to question everything. And that trust is earned. And it took you, 8 years to earn that trust?
Yeah, man. Definitely, especially with all the internet nowadays, all the leaks and stuff like that. You can't just trust anybody with these records.
That's right. That's right.
But just people that don't do this, they don't understand when Kendrick looks over you and says, "Man, is that kick drum okay?" And you go, "Dude, it's perfect." And he goes, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
That's 8 years of trust.
That took all those years.
If you don't have that trust with that artist, you'll be there till 4 a.m. trying out different kick drums.
GI.
Next one is from Augustine Saldana. What are some specific tips as far as production and mixing you took from Dr. Dre while working on the album together?
It was one thing Dre, before we even got in the studio, he told me, it was a quote, he said, it's not what you're working on, it's who's pressing the buttons. And that meant a lot to me at the time. It meant a lot to me at the time because, like I said, I didn't have too much gear. I didn't know too much about mixing and stuff. So.
How long have you been mixing?
About 4 or 5 years now.
Started a long time. That's great, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
But you got taste. That trumps everything.
Yeah. You need that taste. Yeah. But Dre, just working with him, he always said, do you. You know what I'm saying? As a mixer, I feel people try to sound like the next person just to try to get that hit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just do you. You know what I'm saying? If somebody comes to you with a mix, do you. Do what they came to you for, and get the record sounding.
Don't be humble. Be honest. Could you mix a Celine Dion record? I think you could.
I'd love to try it.
I think you could do it. I
love
think
to
you
try
could
it.
do it. You got that taste.
All right, last one is from Dan Salto. How do you balance between going from engineering to mixing to being on the road, touring, and DJing for Kendrick? What was the most important lesson you have learned through all of this that you can pass down to young and up-and-comers?
Sleep whenever you can.
Sleep when you can. Patience.
And to steal as much food and toilet paper everywhere you're at, because you never know when you're going to need it.
Yeah, man, definitely. Nah, it's just our whole camp is more of a family than anything else. So I'm comfortable on all these guys like they're my brothers. So I mean, of course.
I hear that on the record. I swear I do.
Yeah, definitely. To answer the question, we just do it. We've been doing it for so long. There's no specific way in doing it. It's just, that's our lives. This is what we do. This is what we came to do, and we're gonna get it done. You know.
Love that.
Ali, I'll tell you what, my friend. Check every show I've ever done all 90 of them. It's very rare that I tell someone they're one of my favorite guests. You're one of my favorite guests. I'll tell you why, because you're humble, you're talented. I see a little bit of myself in you back when I was starting out, and you're handling it so much better than I did. I can't wait to have you back on the show in a year, and we talk about the 4 or 5 #1 records you've had during that time period, my friend. I'm happy to know you. I'm proud that you're part of the same profession I am. From the bottom of my heart, I mean
Ditto so much.
Ditto that for me. One of the things that's really refreshing is the clarity that you guys have, the fact that you are changing the game to your rules, that the bond that you have, all that stuff is kind of from when we came up. That used to be part of it, and when we changed the meter. So it's good to know it's in good hands.
Kudos. I mean,
it's fantastic,
like every record that comes out now, I can tell you the producer, I can tell you everything. And that record, when I first was exposed to it, I was like, man, I don't want to hear any more of that gangster stuff. I didn't grow up there, I don't understand it, and I'm just tired of it, you know? And then when I heard that record, it's not that. No, it's not that.
Much deeper. It's much deeper, much smarter.
Well,
not that was bad. It's just.
I was telling G.I. today at the house, that record has a universal. It speaks to people on a universal level. There's certain life experiences that transcend Compton, that transcend Beverly Hills. There's just universal life experiences, and somehow Kendrick has the ability to convey that through his personal experiences. I mean, who the hell am I to be able to understand what the cat's doing? But he spoke to me because his music, he's managed to speak on a universal level. It's much bigger than Compton. It's much bigger than America. It's
and the reaction shows that.
It really does.
It's like he takes you there without going there.
I love that. I'm gonna steal that.
Two quick things before we go. One, now that you sat at the desk, you see how big the desk is. So that means that there's room for you to come back. So you have to do that.
My name on it.
Cool, put your name in. And then, Kendra's not doing anything. He's just loose. He's in your car. We got another chair.
I never saw her big before. That's pretty
you
cool.
You got special.
You seen that, G.I.?
And I proudly do.
I'm glad you did it because I was about to humble myself and do the same thing.
Man, we are honored.
But man,
Thank you guys, man.
with or without anybody, you're always welcome. You got a spot.
Oh yeah, we're gonna bug you.
And if there's,
get used to it. We'll be hitting you, and
I
we got a
usually
lot
tell
to.
cats this off the show, but man, the show is yours. We do it for cats like you, and if there's anything we do to help you out, this platform's yours.
Appreciate it, man.
Dave, take us home.
I did. I don't know what else to say, guys. We touched on a lot of things. We moved pretty quick, and I'm not sure we've ever had a guest like Ali that was so honest and shared exactly what he did on this record. Don't go copy it. Make it your own. Use the concept more. It's more important than the actual application. And we'll see you next week.